You block differently for Nick Foles than you did Carson Wentz. And now you're going to have to block a little differently for Jalen Hurts. Got a taste of it right at the end of last year. What is the biggest difference between playing in front of a guy like Jalen Hurts as compared to Carson Wentz?
I think it may change the way pass rushers rush the quarterback. Say there's guys that'll rush different versus, say, a Tom Brady versus a Lamar Jackson, where a lot of guys, when they rush those type of guys that have the dual threat capabilities, they're taught to keep contained sometimes and not really bend around the edges. So it may make it easier in some instances, but when you have a guy like that, it makes it a little bit easier. It makes the defense think a little bit because you have a guy that can get out and beat you in multiple ways.
I know one guy who will be ready to block for him. The Eagles are chomping at the bit and ready to get back at it. One of the guys who will do just that is good enough to join us right now here on Birds 365. Stud offensive lineman, right tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles, Lane Johnson, joins us. Lane, Jody McDonald and John McMullen. How you doing, big guy?
Good morning, man. I'm doing excellent, man. Doing good.
We appreciate your coming on board with us. I know you wanted to come on and share with us some of your off-season work, that you're combining forces with a very good cause while getting work in. Explain the partnership that you've struck up this off-season.
Yeah, we're partnering with a Microban, which is a sanitation product, and we're honoring the people with the MVP program and really honoring the frontline workers that are coming in and day out, sanitizing our facilities, sanitizing homes, workplaces, and really, trying to show our gratitude to the people that are allowing for businesses to carry on, for the NFL to do what we're doing. And that's really what it's all about.
Hey, Lane, good to see you. First off, I guess we gotta talk about your work and your rehab and the fact that obviously you're coming off the ankle surgery. You tried to get through last season with the typewriter surgery, then had to shut it down. How are you doing physically? How are you feeling right now?
I'm doing good. So actually still in rehab, but I'm running, moving around well. So I feel like I'm probably a month out from being cleared fully. But yeah, it was a tightrope procedure in the beginning, but I needed a deltoid repair, which is an inside ligament of your ankle. So that was torn. I tried playing as much as I could, but I couldn't do the things or really push off the way I wanted to. So got the surgery December 7th, about 5 months out. So feeling good, man. I'm feeling like my old self and really just getting ready for OTA, see what happens.
Nobody knows Lane Johnson as well as Lane Johnson. And you're going to decide your body, where you're at, what you still need to get better at, what you still need to give time to heal and prep and get ready. After Lane Johnson, who's the person that you put the second most faith in telling you with their eyes what you're capable of doing, where you're at, when you can push it? Who's the person that you lean on second after yourself?
Really the training staff here or my coach, if he's here in person. But really, I mean, it's ultimately up, my decision. But our training staff, they monitor the progress really well and have been all off season. So we're confident where we're at. We're ahead of schedule and, right around the corner for being cleared. So probably less than a month.
And Lane, you've been through coaching changes before. Obviously, you had tremendous success with Doug Peterson. Obviously, it's not the time of year where you have a ton of contact with the coaching staff, but I'm sure Nick Sirianni has introduced himself. Guy shows a lot of energy. In some ways, does the newness of something give you a little bit more energy and as you're coming back for another season?
Yeah, I think, having the new coaching staff and then having the record that we had last year, there's a lot of emphasis. There's a lot of, pressure to do better than that. And that comes from a lot from the players. So we know where we're standing. And really for the coaching staff, we hadn't really had an opportunity to get acquainted with everybody. I've met Coach Sirianni briefly before he had to go to a meeting. So I had a little bit of small talk, but we start virtual OTAs the 19th. So that'll be a way where we get to learn the playbook and get that down, and then hopefully have some in-person sessions, I guess, before training camp starts in late July.
Lane Johnson here with us on Birds 365. Change is what it is, and we all go through it in our lives. And you certainly, as a now grizzled veteran NFL player, have to be able to deal with that. Knowing that, and that it's a pretty much all new staff, how is important is it to you that Jeff Stoutland is actually staying, a guy who you know as well as anybody else? He's going to be your positional coach again. How important is that to you?
Yeah, that was huge. I mean, you had reports in the offseason that he may be going back to Alabama, this and that. But, I was ecstatic that he stayed. Putting in a lot of work with him and my teammates over the past, 8-9 years and really got to know him. And really, he's a unique guy. He's the way he teaches, the way he coaches. And you see the success that he's had with maybe guys that aren't in the lineup having to deal with injuries and how he's performed with having to do that, having interchangeable parts. So I think that says a lot about him. He treats everybody as if they're a starter. So if somebody goes down, it's the next guy mentality, and you feel prepared.
That having Jeff back and Stout back, but also you're getting your buddy back right next to you, Brandon Brooks, and Jason Kelsey has decided to play another year. So in a lot of ways, for the offensive line room, the band is getting back together. How's Brandon doing? You guys are close off the field as well. You guys are really close friends, and how excited are you to get him back? That's the best right side in football when you guys are right.
He's excited coming off that injury last year. So as far as being cooped up and ready to go, man, he's a ball of energy. And, having Kelsey back too. So we're eager to get out there and perform. We're eager to keep our quarterback clean and get this offense rolling and looking how it should. So, up front's where it starts, and I know we're eager to get the job done. So, last year is unacceptable, and we're here to change that.
Speaking of your quarterback, that's another area of change. A couple of years, Carson Wentz, the guy that you had to block for, and you probably have different assignments and certainly different mindsets with the individual that's back there behind you. You block differently for Nick Foles than you did Carson Wentz, and now you're going to have to block a little differently for Jalen Hurts. Got a taste of it right at the end of last year. What is the biggest difference between playing in front of a guy like Jalen Hurts as compared to Carson Wentz?
I think it may change the way pass rushers rush the quarterback. Say there's guys that'll rush different versus, say, a Tom Brady versus a Lamar Jackson, where a lot of guys, when they rush those type of guys that have the dual threat capabilities, they're taught to keep contained sometimes and not really bend around the edges. So it may make it easier in some instances, but when you have a guy like that, it makes it a little bit easier. It makes the defense think a little bit because you have a guy that can get out and beat you in multiple ways.
Hey, Lane, one of the silver linings, I guess, for the fact that you were injured, Brandon was injured, even JP at times, was all those snaps the young guys got. What kind of pride do you take in people like Jack Driscoll, Jordan Mailata, Andre Dillard, even though he was hurt, but getting those mental reps? I know you work with Duke Mayweather and the offensive line masterminds. Just kind of how much pride do you take in bringing those young guys along?
Man, it was huge, especially some of the situations that they were put in. Limited reps, but, I've said this before, there's nothing that can really simulate a game. And the better or the more times that they got to play, the more games that they were in, I think you saw gradual and steady progress. You could look at Mailata, where he started and where he ended up in the season that he had. Driscoll the same way, steady improvement. And that's what you want to see. And that, it's a credit to Coach Stout and how he coaches. Like I said, he treats everybody as if they're a starter, how they should know their assignments, how they approach practice. So whenever things like this do happen, they're prepared. And I think with how they played shows, why Coach Stout's so good.
Listening to you talk, Lane, it sounds like you're ready to get back to work. You want to get back out there on the field with your teammates, with your guys. Let me ask you about one in particular. There's been a lot of talk this offseason about Zach Ertz, and that Zach has been open that he thinks it's maybe time for him to move on. There's been rumors that the Eagles had conversations about trading him, which I think personally are quite accurate. If we get past the draft, if we get into the full offseason and the workout times start, and the Eagles haven't moved him, and it doesn't necessarily look like they're going to be able to move him, or they're choosing not to move him. When or do you reach out to a guy like Zach Ertz and, to use John's phrase, hey, let's get the band back together for one more show, one more year? Will you try and talk Zach Ertz into coming back, being good with being an Eagle for the 2011 season?
Yeah, I've talked with Zach multiple times throughout the offseason. We talked ball a little bit. I mean, trade speculations were in the works. I feel like he felt like he may have been headed somewhere else, but in this business, you really don't know what's going to happen. So if he's back, there will be nobody more happy than me as far as having a teammate back and a great friend. So yeah, man. I mean, he's close. I don't know if he's the all-time leader in receptions or he's right up there for the Eagles. So you're talking about Zach Ertz. You're talking about a guy that produces and one of the best.
All right, Lane, I know you got to run. Last one for me, so I want to go the fun route. Obviously, it's WrestleMania week. You're good friends with Stone Cold Steve Austin. You've been on his show. You're both Texas guys. You ever give a thought of being in that ring at WrestleMania? Maybe taking a Stone Cold Stunner?
Man, I've thought about it in the fantasy world, but I have a job here, which pays pretty good, but in an alternate life, I would love to be in the ring. So maybe it happens one day, maybe it doesn't, but it's always been a dream.
At least he'll be checking out some WrestleMania this weekend. We're pretty damn sure of that. And since he went fun, I'm going to go a little bit more serious with my last question, Lane. We talked about change, and it's imminent. It's going to happen in everybody's lives, and it happens in the National Football League. Have you given any thought to what it's going to be like playing for someone other than Doug Peterson? Did you get a chance to talk to Coach at all? What are your emotions about him not coming back to coach his team?
Coach Peterson, man, was first of all a great person. I think everybody, was kind of shocked with everything that happened, and hadn't really had a chance to catch up with him, but just to know that I was appreciative of everything that he's done for us, over the past 5 years that he was with us. And, and then moving forward with Coach Sirianni, I mean, we're coming in with full energy. I know he preaches competition. I know the guys in here love to compete. And like I said, man, last year isn't a good indication of where we want to be, and kind of an embarrassment. And that's the last thing we want to be here in Philadelphia. So we have a lot of work to do. We know that. And with the guys coming in, we're going to get that done.
Sounds like you're already taking strides in that direction. Lane, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Keep rehabbing, bud. We're looking forward to seeing you back out there on the field.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
That is Lane Johnson here with us on Birds 365. I don't know about you, Johnny Mac, and I truly enjoyed talking to Lane there. He called me sir at the end. Is it the beard? Is it
always the beard?
The gray?
I always look at these guys because a lot of them are really polite, and they always call me sir, and it is the gray. And I always look at them like I'm the most immature person on the planet. I will never get used to anyone calling me sir, whether it's Lane Johnson or somebody at Wawa holding the door.
When somebody calls me sir, I go like this.
Yeah, I go, what?
I always got to look who's behind me because they're sure as hell not referring to me. But yes, that was the case with Lane Johnson. He's good. Gave us some really good answers about the upcoming season. He looks like a guy who's dealt with what he's had to do during the offseason. This is not the first time Lane's had to come back from pretty significant injury, so it's not like he's never done it before, but he seems to be in a good mindset. His beard looked much better than both yours and mine, certainly less white. So he looks ready for the season for as best we could judge in a Zoom situation. He's a key element of the Eagles being a better team than 4-11-1 like they were last year. If they do get their offensive line healthy, back together, and staying on the field, that's going to make the Eagles a better football team right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, the expectations are low. And I've said from the start of this, if they're going to overachieve next season, it's going to be because of that offensive line. And not only Lane Johnson coming back healthy, but Brandon Brooks, as I mentioned, Jason Kelce back for another season. And then you figure it out on, Isaac Seumalo's going to be at left guard. You figure it out at left tackle. Potentially, if those three guys, Johnson, Brooks, and Kelce, play like they have in the past, well, that's going to be one of the best offensive lines in football. And that's a good foundation to build an offense on.
He's John McMullen. I'm Jody McDonald. We are your Birds 365 guys. We'll take our first time out of the day, come back, talk a little bit more about what Lane had to say and the Eagles' moves from yesterday. A little bit later, Zach Berman of the Athletic covers the Birds day in and day out will hop aboard with us. Keep it right here on Birds 365.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.